Hey there, my name is Chris Mango, and I'm the creator of Mango Mischief, a satirical, retro-style JRPG that's available for PC on Steam. If you're watching this video, you're about to see me playing my own game, showing off shortcuts and going into detail about the development process and intentions with essentially every aspect of Mango Mischief. So I think it's fair to say spoiler alert. If you'd like to play my game before watching this, the Steam link is in the description. I hope you enjoy my playthrough and commentary. Alright, episode 3, here we go. Reloading file 2. As I did last time, I'm going to just create another little save file, file 3 for episode 3. And when last we left off, we got the hex hammer, which is located in our key items. And we're going to use this to break down some boulders. 8 boulders in all to fill up the 8 little holes in the bridge. Monsters appeared from the rubble. Yes, each boulder you break, you're going to have to do a little battle. They're all essentially the same. I like to go for the big golem first because he hits all 4 of us at the exact same time. I like to focus down the big golem. The little ones, these grabolettes, they attack one character at a time, which isn't so bad. However, each of their attacks has the capacity to potentially afflict a specific status ailment, like paralysis, or confusion, or blind. This is me focusing down the big golem here. I think I'm slowly getting the hang of using a microphone and recording the game. This first battle tends to take a little bit longer than the other 7 battles for 2 reasons. First of all, I'm the weakest in terms of levels. I have the lowest amount of experience. And second, my TP isn't maxed yet. I don't have full TP bars to use any special abilities. Since I have Slayer as my TP mode, I'll be gaining 20 TP every time I get a kill. And this is one of the reasons why I like to keep Slayer on, at least through the boulder battles. It's because I'm guaranteed to replenish my TP gauge. There are 5 enemies in each battle, and so that'll give us 100 TP every time. So as long as I start off the battle using up my 100 TP, I'll get to use my entire TP ability and then just get a brand new full gauge for the next battle, and then kind of paying it forward so that each of my boulder battles starts me off with a full 100 TP gauge all the way through. It typically takes 1 or 2 of these boulder battles to gain a level. So let's see, right off the bat I can use Devastation, just to deal some damage. Rock Toss, take some damage. Alacrity. Let's see if I can start hurting some of my opponents. Now here's a weird case, because the golem is charmed, so normally I want to leave the golem alone. Not disrupt him, because if I do hit him, his charm will be gone. However, he also has Rage, which means when you are raged, any enemy that has Rage, yet normally attacks multiple characters at the same time, will only attack one. So when you see the golem attack again, he'll just attack one person, just Marrow, not all 4. As you experience the different status ailments, both on how it works on enemies and how it works on allies, you'll pretty much know how to work through, how to deal with each of these status ailments. I'm low on MP, in fact I have none, but that's okay, because I'm going to be leveling up next turn. If I want to, I can absolutely use a mini magic. Doesn't really matter. Let's use it on a rat. You'll have plenty of magic healing items and health healing items in the beginning of the game. So don't worry about saving them, because the drop rate is pretty high. The battles typically drop a good number of items, as well as gold, and of course you can always shop for more items if you're running low on anything in particular. Now, interestingly enough, Rage does something different when your character is raged. When your character is enraged, what happens is you lose all control of the character. It'll attack forwards, it'll do a regular basic attack on an enemy, but you don't get to choose a specific skill of any kind. You don't get to use an item. It's basically just automatically controlled for you. And here's our level up. 2 boulders down, 6 more to go. The old beta had 10 boulders, and it was just too many. I was unsure if it was too many, and then my playtesters agreed that it was actually too many. 8 seems to be just enough to be reasonable. This is a useful way to level up in terms of experience, because remember, recently we did... I guess I could use Alacrity there. Recently, we did just switch from our Novice class to our 2 Proficient tier classes. We needed to level up to Proficient tier to beat the Flesher and Cerberus. But now the aim of this episode is to complete both of our 2 classes that we have access to now, the 2 Proficient tier classes. For example, Sprig can alternate between being a Spellbound Soldier and a Worthy Warrior. I'd like to get them both to level 10 by the end of this episode, before the next boss battle. This episode we're going to grind through the 8 boulders. I will pick up some more mangoes on the way, because we did use all 3 of the mangoes we picked beforehand. And after we kill off the boulders, or break the boulders and kill off the boulder baddies, we will make our way to the next town, which is a very short activity inside that town, and then we'll move on to the next dungeon, a nearby cave called the Northern Caves, which will not take nearly as long as last episode's Hargoth Kingdom and Castle, where we talked to a whole bunch of NPCs just because there were a lot of tutorials to reveal. Almost level 6. Since I'm here, and I've opened up the path, I'm going to grab some more mangoes now. Might as well. Remember, you can get 3 at a time. 1, 2, 3. The 3 trees I just took from were very particular, because the first 3 trees, the leftmost 3 trees, were the ones that I already pulled from. So now trees 4, 5, and 6 were available for picking mangoes. And you can always check your key items. And here are the 3 mangoes I've picked. Here are 3 boulder rubble piles, reminding us that we've defeated 3 boulder battles already. We've won 3 boulder battles already. You can speed up the crushing of boulders animation by holding down the spacebar or holding down the left mouse. Let's use Alacrity this time. Mess with their minds. Let's see what this golem has. Sleep and Charm will both be removed if I hit the golem, but he's going to be poisoned anyway, and more importantly, he's blinded. Poison does a good amount of damage over time, but I'm not really planning to keep the blue golem alive for very long. It'll probably only last 1 or 2 more turns. But if he's blinded, as he is here, he's more likely to miss. So when it's his turn, if he gets a turn, he'll still do his normal attack of hitting all 4 of us simultaneously. But he might only hit 2 of us, or 1 of us, or 3 of us, or something like that. Blindness lowers the accuracy to something like 25% or so, and that's consistent whether it's an enemy being blinded or an ally being blinded. But I guess we'll never know if that golem was going to hit this time. As you can see here, the decision to really choosing which Gravelette to hit next depends on how much HP they each have, but also what kind of status ailments and debuffs they have. So sometimes it makes sense to finish off an already weak one. Sometimes it makes sense to leave certain enemies alone, like if they're confused or charmed. That was just lucky that I didn't hit one of the confused enemies. Let's just polish this off. 1 more hit should do it. And again, we're back at 100 TP. So you can keep cycling through this if you're using Slayer. If you're using a different TP mode, you can absolutely still continue to gain TP along the way. You just have to perhaps time things a little bit better. So again, we use Devastation, open up with Devastation, and Alacrity, and Redemption. Now, both the Confusion and the Sleep will end up disappearing. So, if I were particularly weak, or if I had to really pay close attention because I was uncomfortable about a certain battle, I might leave leave alone an enemy who's confused or sleeping. You'll also notice that as I'm gaining more levels, I tend to attack faster, or I tend to attack before more and more of my enemies. It's obviously one of the virtues of being a higher level. You have higher stats, which includes higher agility. Higher agility means you're more likely to attack before anyone else. And sometimes if your agility is high enough, you can attack twice before an enemy. And vice versa. Obviously, an enemy with incredibly high agility might attack twice before you attack at all. I'm sticking with Neutromancy here as opposed to Umbromancy. The main reason is because Umbromancy isn't super effective. Like, dark and light attacks do just fine against these earth-based enemies, but they're not super effective. And so if I have to choose between spending 30 magic points on Neutromancy or 40 magic points on Umbromancy, given that they're going to end up doing similar points of damage, I might as well spend only 30 MP. Just trying to preserve my magic points for as long as possible. Devastation again. You might find a different pattern that ends up working better. Now, this was an interesting aberration. Marion killed off one of the golems. That's obviously a good thing in general, but if I was hoping to keep using all my TP and refill the gauge, there's a little bit of an issue here, because now Marrow and Sprig, if they use their TP special abilities, they're going to only end up replenishing a total of 80 TP, because there's only 4 enemies left to kill. It doesn't really matter that much, but in terms of planning ahead, these are just little things that you consider. Will I have a full TP gauge when I start the next battle? In this case, in this specific battle, the answer to that's going to be no. You can see here the golem is silenced. When the golem is... or I guess now he's confused, because the Gravelet was charmed, and so attacked an ally. That ally, in this case, being the golem, which successfully confused the golem, which is interesting. Now he's no longer confused because it hit him. If you are silenced, and if you are an enemy, you can still do an attack. It's just a typically boring, weaker attack. So silence is pretty useful. I do have on Marion the ability to silence if I want to. I'm just planning on finishing these levels, or these battles, so quickly that it doesn't really matter. But I can absolutely go for the jugular. I can cast silence on one enemy. When you cast a status ailment on an enemy, there is generally something like an 80 or 90% chance that it works. It's not guaranteed, but there's a general 80 to 90% chance that the status ailment works, unless that enemy is a higher leveled enemy or a more difficult later in the game enemy, because some of those have resistances also. So if you have, let's say, a 90% chance of successfully silencing an enemy, but that enemy has a 50% resistance, then that 90% gets cut in half. So it only have a 45% chance of actually being silenced, or whatever the status ailment ends up being. There's my old dog Snowball. I believe we only need 2 boulders left. I'm kind of on autopilot right now, but I want to make sure I haven't missed anything. We have 6 boulders down, 2 more to go. Here's 1. I figure I should mix up the colors every once in a while. The different colors of golems and gravelets, depending on, are we fighting them? Are we fighting them in a forest? Are we fighting them by the volcano? Are we fighting them in the snowy areas? I did double swing here, which runs a risk of, not hitting the golem at all, because it's random. I've got Mini Thwack and I've got Lumamancy. You'll see here the adjectives say things like strong. Any move that says strong is kind of at the same tier in terms of damage. Like you'll see maybe strong, or very strong, or massive. In fact, Sprig's TP ability, Redemption, does massive damage, which is generally significantly stronger than a move that just says strong. So I wanted kind of consistent adjectives, strong, very strong, massive, to kind of give you an idea of just how much damage you're doing compared to a regular weaker attack. Here it says deal strong magic non-elemental. This one says strong magic dark. This one says strong physical attack. Obviously, Mini Thwack is physical, you can tell by the icon here, as opposed to magic. But all other things being the same, if Marrow had identical magic attack and physical attack stats, like if they were both, I don't know, at 20 points, or both 50 points, or both 100 points, then these would do basically the same amount of damage because they're both considered strong. I'm just going to use some Neutromancy. This says to average physical attacks as opposed to a strong physical attack, right? So you can do 1 strong attack, or you could do 2 average, so slightly weaker physical attacks, and of course they're random. And let's finish off these 3. Let's see what Double Swing does. Nice. Almost done with his battle. And since I'm going to have full TP gauges, well, I want to see what level I am. If I can get to level 7, then I can... Oh, I am level 7. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to switch to my other class, because you do gain a new skill at level 7, but I also want to gain some levels in my weaker class. As you can see here, when I switch from level 7 to level 2, I go back in my stats. This is something you have to strategize about. If you're switching between classes within the same tier, like these 2 proficient tier classes, the stats are consistent. Level 2 and level 2 mean the same amount of stats. Level 7 and level 7 mean the same amount of stats. So what that means is, level 7 as a Dark Adept is going to have higher stats than level 2 as an Elementalist. So sometimes it makes sense to level them all together, or back and forth alternatively. That way you don't fall too far behind with one class. Like you might struggle to level up a low-level class if you're very deep in the game. Now I have a full TP meter, so it shouldn't be impossible to win the next few matches. There are enemies here. I've just gotten pretty lucky. There we go. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of little enemies here. You do a decent amount of damage to these. And Marrow's Alacrity is going to be great here, because there's 8 enemies, so we can really mess with a bunch of them. Let's see who I want to attack, right? So, let's see, Rage, I can leave the Rage ones alone. Charm, I'm going to leave Charmed alone. Maybe, for example, we go for this one, because they didn't have too many debuffs, and I was confident that I could one-shot them. This one's weak against magic defense right now, or its magic defense was lowered, and so I finished that one off. And we are in a more advanced forest than the southwest forest or the central forest. We start doing a little bit more damage, we start having to deal with a few more enemies at a time. I use Bash on this one just to make sure I actually hit this one and do enough damage. I'm keeping an eye on my NP also. I don't know if I'm going to gain a level off the top of my head after just this one battle, so I do want to make sure that that I'm prepared for the next match too. So I'm out of NP here, so I have to be careful. Siphon Health is oftentimes good. It's the equivalent of doing a normal attack in terms of damage, but you convert all the damage back as HP. Also Redemption. We talked about the different adjectives earlier. This says massive physical attack, which is why you tend to do more damage with Redemption. Do I need to use Siphon Health? Not really. I have 20 MP though, so I can't really use it for anything else. So let's just get some health back. 112, 112. I'm so close to having 40 MP, so this might be an opportunity where I guard. This will be the first time this game where I guard, but last episode I talked about why we might want to guard. You see the little guard icon, the guard indicator here, meaning if a rat gets hit, he'll be taking basically half damage, and he's only half as likely to receive any status ailments, on top of getting a little bit of HP, a little bit of MP, and a little bit of TP. So you can see here now I've got enough for Lumimancy. I can pull this one off, as opposed to just using a generic attack. So close to level 2. So close to level 3. So I think I'll actually use some mini-magics. I've purposely set a cap for most items in the game to be 10. That is on purpose. There will still be many cases where you'll still need to use items. But I just didn't want people hoarding like 99 of them. Later on in the game, items will, most of the time, be incredibly helpful and oftentimes necessary. I tend to be guilty of hoarding items and never ever using them. My mindset was always, well, what if I need them for the next battle? What if I need them for the next battle? And then suddenly it's the final battle, and then I'm like, well, what about post-game ultimate weapon content, whatever? And then it turns out that I could have been using the items all along, having a slightly better quality of life through the different encounters, and I just never ever used them. It's not a bad thing to not use items. It's usually just, I don't know. It's difficult from a developer perspective to make items interesting enough or worth exchanging a normal turn where you could do damage for a turn where you'll actually use an item that'll help in the grand scheme of things. So I used double swing there. I didn't hit the golem at all. That's not a big deal, because I'm going to kill him now, hopefully. Also, just obligatory reminder, I do have HP mini amulets on all 4 of my characters, which means they're 1000 HP higher than normal. Right, so you can see as some of these are getting closer to the 1000 mark, like 1101 HP, that would pretty much be in the danger zone if Marion didn't have that extra 1000 HP of buffer. So some of these battles, you have to be pretty careful about. Marion just got silenced, which isn't a big deal because Marion, I'm not really using too many of her skills at the moment. I'm not bothering to steal, even though I could be stealing. One of the reasons why I'm choosing not to steal with these boulder battles is because stealing does cost a little bit of TP, and if I use some of my technical points to steal, then I won't have a full 100 TP when I start my next battle, which is something I've been trying to be aware of each time. So close. Alright, let's just finish off this one. You'll notice that most moves do not miss in general. The chance of landing most attacks is something like 95%. Now, that being said, once in a while you'll see a miss, like in that case. Sometimes you'll have a string of misses, because when you're taking part in hundreds and hundreds of battles, it's very likely that eventually, you're expected to have a string of misses over time, given enough attacks. Level 3, so we get our full MP, which is kind of nice. And we have all 8 boulders. Now, there is a little area over here to the right, but if you look to the bottom right, there's some magic blocking the way. I can't do anything east of where I'm currently located yet. I can't really do anything to the right side of this map. I can't access that yet, which is fine, because those enemies are actually much more difficult than the ones you're seeing right now. So close. Whenever we're versing a lot of enemies at the same time, like, well, I guess like 8 of these cockatrices, I wanted to make their attack animations pretty quick, because if you're going to sit through 8 times, especially on a normal speed, normal battle animation speed, you could end up wasting another 10-20 seconds if the animation's a little bit longer. Do I want to do anything here? No, I'll just stick to regular attacks with her. By the way, notice how Cockatrice is down to 1. This Cockatrice is poisoned. Anytime you're poisoned, the poison will reduce, obviously, your HP each turn, but you cannot be killed by poison. Whether you've been poisoned or the enemy's poisoned, it will stop at 1. You have to actually do a final hit, just to be clear on that. Yeah, that worked out nicely. Level 4. Got some more skills. Oh, let me talk to the signpost. Missed the signpost. There's a chest at the top, which will be very useful, but when we're strong enough to actually do something there. let's take care of these guys. These guys cast very strong poison. In fact, the poison takes out a third of your HP, but again, you can't be killed by it. So if Mero goes again, although she might not. Actually, Sprig didn't get poisoned. But if Mero were to go again, you'd see at the end of her turn, she would drop 33% of her HP. Signpost. Please pause and heed this key forewarning. The treasure east is most adorning, but the monsters lying there in wait may scare you off or seal your fate. If a challenge is what you seek, then venture east and see who's weak. For while the monsters may be frightful, the reward earned is most delightful. Make a mental note of that chest. We'll come back to that in a few episodes. But now we've got 8 boulders, or 8 boulder rubble sets. We can spend the time to read this anagram again, but we're good. Perfect. The hex hammer has been completed. Now we can move to the east. Here's the next town we want to venture to. If we try going north, we have a little avalanche. The assets here show that these little snow pieces could be used as clouds also, but I kind of like using them as snow. Ugh, the road is blocked up ahead. Mero, can you use some sort of fire spell to melt the avalanche? I can't. There's just too much ice. I guess you could say... Don't say it. That... Please don't. It's no use. Can we please go find something that can melt all this snow? And if you try going into the northern cave area, you get a little bit of a, I think we passed Pitha south of here. Let's see if we can gather any information from the people who live there. Now, you can talk to this individual here, and I'm going to. Hello there, my name is Valedict. Hello, Valedict. Would you mind stepping aside so that we can pass? We have a great journey ahead of us. I too have traveled a great distance. I wish to study Pitha and its residents. I'm quite exhausted, though. Is there something we can do to help you? While I cannot afford to be weary, I can afford to not be weary. I have no idea what you're talking about. If you happen to have a talisman that makes one immune to tiredness, would you mind letting me buy it from you? That would allow me to move along and continue my research. I'd hate to block your path forever. A new side quest has been added to your journal. Just a reminder that when we do get a sleep talisman, we can give Valedict that for some sort of reward, and then he'll move out of our way. However, we can actually still pass him right now. Make sure you have a spare one. If one of you is currently equipping it, then I can't purchase it. We currently don't have a sleep talisman, and maybe one day we'll find an extra one for you to have, but we're also not going to be stopped by your attempt at blocking our path. Honestly, the 4 of us can move you. Fair enough. It's kind of nice being able to keep going past people who are trying to block us. Travelers should really do this more often, especially when they're on a mission. So you can absolutely just ignore them completely and keep moving. There's a place to the south of here. There's a place to the east of here. But at the same time, we do need to head to the town of Pitha, which is this town right here. I'll come in through the west side, which is where we would normally access it. Signpost. Pitha's calculating leader, surrounded by his pupils, requires a familial gift to temper all his scruples. His reward will help you wherever you may go, from glowing in the dark to melting all the snow. What you'll see here is we're going to get a new key item, not just the hex hammer, but a new key item called the Everflame, which allows you to brighten up dark areas, like caves, as well as melt snow, like avalanches that are blocking you from heading north. And just to speed through this, you can see there's a bunch of weird followers, but the only person with hair here is the guy who we'll talk to. Excuse me, sir, but have you seen 3, 4, 5, 5, 12, 13, 6, 8, 10, 7, 24, 25? I just wanted to include more math numbers. There's no puzzles here. These are just Pythagorean triples related to the Pythagorean theorem. 3 squared plus 4 squared equals 5 squared, sides of a right triangle, etc. Same with 5, 12, 13, as well as 6, 8, 10, as well as 7, 24, 25. Listen, we just want... Here's some Fibonacci numbers. 0 plus 1 is 1, 1 plus 1 is 2, 1 plus 2 is 3, 2 plus 3 is 5. You just add the 2 preceding numbers to get the next number. I don't think this man is interested in helping us right now. This man is so rude, so stubborn. You dare to trespass on the hallowed ground of the Pythagrass, yet you accuse me of being uncivil? The name of this town is entirely based on this pun right here, Pythagoras. Until you present me proof of your enlightenment, I will not be speaking with you. These three now spawn as a result of speaking to that man. Why, hello there. You four aren't from around here, are you? Nope, we were wondering if anyone around here saw the king recently. The king and his caravan passed through mainly to speak with our leader, Samos. You mean the weird guy pacing in the field while his buddies dance around him? Samos is our leader, but he is not weird. He is enlightened, and we all praise him in the center of town on the Pythagoras. He refuses to speak with us, though. He insisted we show some sort of evidence of being enlightened. Do you know what he's looking for? I do not, but his sister would. Which one is she? She left the village years ago. She runs a shop in Harga. We're gonna head back there. So we gotta find her and tell her about her brother's enlightenment thing? She can surely help you find what you are looking for. Is she enlightened too? Yes, she is. She describes her amazing revelations as interesting. So we're looking for keywords like enlightened and interesting. Since when does enlightened mean the same thing as interesting? Thank you for helping us. And the main quest here. So here we've got, this is the main quest we just unlocked. You can see there's a calculator here, just as a little bit of a, a representative icon, because when you go back to the shop, we'll go back to that calculator in Hargoth. And then this is Valadic's side quest, Sleepless and Skedaddle. Of course, there's going to be play on words like Sleepless in Seattle, the movie. East of Pitha, a scholar has asked the party to buy a sleep talisman for him, just to be very, very clear on what he's looking for. But we're going to be focusing on this situation. We're going to go back to Hargoth in just a moment. But first, I want to get rid of another mango. Welcome to Pitha, where the people are all right. A lot of words related to triangles incoming, like right. I need to be straight with you all. I have an acute hunger for mangoes. Right triangles, right angles, straight angles, acute angles. I don't mean to be obtuse angles, but do you happen to have one? We have an extra mango. You can have it. Thank you. Please take this as a reward. So we got additional armors, which would be particularly useful if we didn't already have them. And the ripeness of mangoes comes in threes, perhaps to mirror a triangle's sides. Just another reference or another reminder that you can only pick 3 mangoes at a time. We've got weapons on the left, armor to the right. Do you wish to buy any weapons? Sure, because we've got slightly stronger weapons now. You'll see now we've got some different staves, which specifically do certain elemental damage. And any staff that is elementally imbued, it's imbued with a specific element, and getting hit by that element is reduced by 50%. So a Cryomancer's staff is all about you having the power of ice and being strong against anyone else attacking you with ice. Remember, Pyro and Hydro, fire and water, they're strong, or you could say weak, against each other. If you see a fire enemy, you'll probably want to make sure you have a water weapon equipped. And then earth and wind have the same duality. Ice and thunder have the same duality, and of course, so do light and dark. So whether you're using a certain elemental spell or wielding a specific elementally imbued weapon, these are just additional things to keep in mind so you can kind of max the number of super effective abilities and attacks. But for now, I'm going to actually I'm going to buy a Tomahawk for Sprig and a Tomahawk for Arak, and a Morning Star for Marion and a Morning Star for Merrow, because I'm going to pick up the important staves, inside the cave, which we'll get to later on. But for now, the reason why I chose the Morning Star and the Tomahawk is because it has the highest physical attack, including for my mages. Take care. Armor. There's one more type of armor we can get. Actually, yes, there's one more type of armor in that we can get different helms. You'll notice that the headgear here either increase physical defense, magic defense, agility, or luck. You can choose whichever one you want. I'm going to focus on the... doesn't really matter. Let's do magic defense. Let's do 4 of these. And now you can get slightly stronger shields. So you notice they've got the same icon because they both do physical defense increases. But this one's stronger, costs more, and then this is the magic defense. Change 2. Let's just stick with 4 of these. I don't need 8. 4 of these. And I don't need to worry about anything else right now. Military Regalia costs more because you can get a total of 20 stat boosting points, stat points, as opposed to the normal 10. Most of the time we won't have this amount of money this early, but that's okay. As you wish. So now I'm going to go here. I'm going to click Optimize again. Let's see how much it messes up and how much it actually helps me. That looks pretty reasonable. If I keep clicking Optimize, I'm just doing page down, optimize, page down, optimize. This looks reasonable. I don't really care too much about what my body armor is, as long as it's doing something. And so I've got some pretty strong physical attack now. And so while I'll have no problem using magic attacks, it doesn't hurt to just use basic attacks, basic physical attacks as well if I want to conserve some MP. This is empty right here. And if you need to rest at an inn or buy some items, you can obviously come here. I don't think I necessarily needed to do that, but it's always an option. It's free. Why not? If I was running particularly low on gold, I can always sell some of my items, especially if I don't think I'll need any sort of like status ailment items. I'm going to head over to the shop now. Here's the shop. It's not the armory, it's not the inn. Here's the calculator to remind you. If I talk to her, or the table in front, I've got tell me something interesting, tell me something useful, tell me something really useful. So the tell me something interesting is what I care about, but in case you want a little bit more information, all status ailments wear off after the battle has ended, so if you're near victory, you may not want to waste an item. And if someone is knocked out during battle, they'll still receive experience, and they'll wake up on their own after the battle has ended. I didn't want anyone missing out on experience just because they got knocked out at the last second. Also, that might be a reasonable strategy, like sacrifice one or two of your characters to finish off an enemy at the last second, and that's fine. They'll revive with 1 HP after the battle's over. Tell me something interesting. E to the pi times I plus 1 equals 0. Euler's identity, or Euler's formula. That sure sounds enlightened. My brother would call it enlightened. I just call it interesting. Your brother, we actually just spoke with Samus. Oh, you know Sam? Well, actually, we just met and we know Sammy very well. He's a great friend of ours. We're all old friends, we go way back. Oh wow, I didn't know. Would you mind giving him this calculator for me? We'd be happy to do that for you. Thank you. Calculator obtained. We'd better head back to see Samus. If I'm gonna have a little fetch quest, I didn't want it to take like 20 minutes to go back and forth and backtrack. The backtracking that you'll do here would be mainly in line with mangoes whenever you actually want to give mangoes to individuals. You don't have to give away mangoes right away. You can deal with all those mango side quests toward the end of the game if you don't mind not benefiting from earlier rewards. Samos? Pi with the E and I and... What do you have there? The calculator, by the way, was in the key item tab as well. I just didn't show it. But now it'll be gone because we're giving it to Samos. With a 1 and a 0 and is that my sister's calculator? And an equal sign, and I didn't know you were friends with Cassie. Cassie? Oh! I couldn't help but make a little pun on one of the more common calculator brands, Casio. Yeah, we're all old friends, right. Cassie asked us to deliver this to you. Well, she would only trust this calculator with enlightened people. Thank you, and what do you need? That's it. So much for being enlightened. We mean thank you for listening, and have you seen the king recently? Indeed I have. The king and his caravan members went searching for some items that were desired in Hargoth. They had a list of 10 rare treasures that they wanted to obtain and bring back to the kingdom. If we found those 10 items, then the king would surely approve of everything we ask of him, once we find him. Do you happen to have a copy of that list? I do not. However, I do know that 2 of the items that they were looking for are a hex hammer and some Everflame. Well, we already have a hex hammer, but what's Everflame? Everflame is an intense blue fire. It's been said that the flame never dies. Samos, do you know where we can find some Everflame? I believe you can find some Everflame in the northern caves. How are we going to transport it? We can't just carry it around in our hands. That is also something I can help with. Here, take this. Fireproof flask obtained, another key item. It's just an empty flask that can actually contain, or hold, the Everflame that we'll end up finding in the cave we're going to next. Thank you, Samos. I assume that this can hold Everflame? Yes, it is made from a very enlightened fireproofing material. Sounds perfect. Let's go get some Everflame! And we should ask everyone we meet about the king and his list of items. A new main quest has been added to your journal. So the journal now has, we took care of the Samos's enlightenment, and now we're on the Everflame. Take Samos's fireproof flask into the northern caves and retrieve some Everflame for the king. So if you go back to the key items, the calculator has been exchanged for a fireproof flask, and we'll end up using this to gather some Everflame. So we're going to head north. Little signpost here. To the left, the flame forever, provided you go underground. To the right, the three endeavor to stay rich and never be found. Are you scared of the monsters or scared of the dark? Choose one or the other. Begin to embark. The blue fire helps you walk with precision, but ultimately it is your decision. If you try going to the right, I mean, you can, but it's going to get dark, and you'll continue getting a little bit of a warning. Wow, it's getting really dark in here. Maybe we should head to the left of the entrance instead of the right. I agree, it looks like we'll need a strong light source to proceed this way. Yeah, we don't want to get lost in the dark. It gets darker than this, to be clear. To the point where you can do it if you know exactly where to go, but there's really no reward to moving to the right first. There's nothing there that really benefits you any further than getting started in the Northern Caves. We're in the Northern Caves level 2 because, well, we just came from the Northern Caves level 1. Here's our nice gold healing statue. And you'll see that there's blue torches here. You can completely ignore the blue torches if you want, but they do map out the route if you follow along them, as you can see here. They'll map out the route for all chests in the area, all rewards. And so if you're looking for clearing out an entire dungeon, making sure you get all the treasures, then I would definitely recommend following the blue torches. Now here we've got one very strong enemy. This should be a good opportunity for something like Go for the Jugular if it hits. Okay, so now we'll see if we end up getting to use more of Marion's skills. Nutrimancy, sure, why not? Double swing. We want to start whittling away. Now, Lumimancy. I'm pretty sure the move he just used was a dark type move. You can always guess. You can always say, like, well, he might be a dark enemy, or maybe I'm not sure what element he is, so let me just use a bunch of different elements and see which one's super effective, if any. I'm going to slow him down. That way I'll get a few more attacks off on average than I would otherwise. I'm using double swing as opposed to bash, because that way I can get 2 hits off, even though they're not strong hits compared to bash. 2 normal average physical attacks are better than 1 strong one. I could use Devastation if I want. Yeah, sure, let's use Devastation. Pretty good. I could also do... oh. It would have been actually pretty smart if I used Startle and then used Devastation, because his physical defense would have been lowered. Okay, so I missed one of my double swings, but I hit the other one. I tend to take a slightly different strategy when I start dealing with stronger enemies. I won't use all the TP bars in one battle, but I'll kind of alternate. Like, Marion won't have any TP for a while, but Sprig will have plenty of TP. That way, if I verse another battle that I really need to use a very strong attack, I'll have Sprigs on reserve while Marion starts to build up. Moved up level 5. Additionally, since we're talking about TP, I'm going to change the TP mode. I know, based on experience, that most of these battles we're versing just like maybe 3 enemies at a time. Usually it's either 1 or 3 enemies, and so the Slayer situation won't really help me out too quickly. But I do end up versing a bunch of enemies who hit multiple times, so I might want to consider doing team player. And so every time an ally gets hit, everyone else gets some TP. I'm just going to do page down, down, page down, down, page down, down arrow, page down, down arrow, just to make sure I've got the team player activated. Just going to follow this. I'm going to follow these around. I could actually use my mouse. I could actually use my keyboard. Gloom Tomb. You can see here there's the dark element. So Marion won't have a TP move for a while, but that's okay because she can focus on things like Go for the Jugular, Trip Up, Steal. Let's see if we can slow down the enemy. That way it's more likely. See, Marion gets to attack a second time before this monster gets to attack first. I'm going to do Startle. Do I do Startle or Expose? Let's see. Startle would be good when Sprig attacks with Physical, but Expose would be good when Arak attacks with Magic. I'm going to do Startle first. I could always do... Oh, missed either way, it doesn't matter. I could always do both, it'll just take 2 turns. I could also have Arak accentuate his magic also. Let's go for the Jugular. And let's see if Startle will work this time. Okay, so now you can see here it scrolls through. Let's go with Redemption. That should do a lot of damage. That's not bad, 552. And you can see here I have Command Remember on my battles, or on my skills. So the last skill I used was go for the Jugular. It doesn't like restart all the way up at the top and I have to scroll back down again. If you don't like that, if you want to actually start back at the top, you just turn off Command Remember in your options. In the options located in the pause menu. Okay, almost level 6. I'm just going to check my magic points. I should be good. Just to be safe, one of the only skills you can use outside of battle are healing skills that Arak has. And so I can heal up Marian's HP outside of battle. That way I don't have to waste a turn during battle. So you'll pass by all of the chests if you follow all the torches. You might just have to move a couple spaces to get to the chest and then move a couple spaces back. Notice how I'm getting hit a pretty decent amount, right? Again, the extra 1000 HP is really helping. Let's see what I want to do here. We could, if we go for the Jugular, then they're unlikely to be able to hit me twice. Okay. And let's use Alacrity. Let's see what other status ailments and debuffs we can deal with. Let's see. Charmed, I'm going to leave this one alone. Paralyzed, I'll probably leave that one alone. Silence, probably going to leave that one alone. I'll probably work on this Darkling. Even though he's slow, which means he'll probably attack fewer times than the other 3, I don't mind killing him off first, because usually the status ailments tend to be more influential than just having a slight debuff. As you can see, they're certainly weaker than the big guy, who we just fought a few times. But there's 4 of them here, so the damage can add up. I think a regular attack should go. Okay, nice. Who to go for next? Let's go for this individual, because his magic defense is already lowered, and it's super effective. So you can already see that these battles are taking a little bit longer. You have to be a little bit more thoughtful with the moves you're making. Like, you can attempt to just spam regular attack all you want, which might end up eking you out some wins, but it's very easy to accidentally get killed if you're not paying attention. Let's go for... I'm going to do another guard to get closer to 40 MP. That was actually perfect. So I'll be able to use another Lumomancy, because Lumomancy is just so much better than the other attack. He's charmed, so I'm leaving him alone right now. Because charmed, he'll either end up hitting himself, or he'll end up hitting one of his allies. Let's use Empower on himself. There we go. Didn't do much damage, but at least it didn't hit me. See, I'm running low on MP, so now I might have to end up using some regular attacks, but we're at the end of the battle anyway, and we should secure a level up. Nice, level 6. So next level, I'll get another skill. You might have also saw there that, I know I keep skipping through like the loot stages. I'll show those for the next win or two. But I am gaining certain rewards that are equipable items. Like here are some staves that might be useful. In fact, they'll be useful in the next stage of the game where that'll be for the following episode. But you can get equipable items, and certainly you get plenty of these sorts of items that you can use during battle to replenish all your HP and MP. As you can see here, these three, Mini Tonic, Mini Tonic All, and Mini Magic, are all maxed at 10. So you're kind of incentivized to use them because they drop so frequently, and you're not getting any more of them. So if you feel like you need to heal in battle, or outside of battle, you might as well just use them. You know, maybe stick to having maybe only 8 or 7 on Retainer, because that'll ramp back up to 9 or 10 later on. So I'm going to slow down the Gravekeeper. What else can we do? I'm going to... We're going to go for this Dark one first, I think. We're going to focus this one down. Now, the Bash doesn't benefit from the magic defense being decreased, but the Lumimancy does. So that was almost dead. Notice how my TP is getting jumping up a little bit each time. So like when Marion gets hit, Marion doesn't get TP, but everyone else gets some TP. When Arak gets hit, Arak doesn't get some TP, but everyone else gets some TP because they're all on team player mode. Remember, team player is only when one of your allies, not yourself, takes damage. Let's use Startle. Mix things up a little bit. That way Bash will be more effective. It's not bad. Stick with the Lumimancy. So these enemies here, whether you're versing 1 Gravekeeper, or 4 of these Darklings, or 1 Gravekeeper and 4 Darklings, these enemies here are all Dark type. And so figuring out quickly what kind of enemies, especially their elemental identities, what kind of enemies you're facing, the faster you figure that out, the easier it will be to win these battles. And unless your weapon is imbued with a weapon, unless your weapon is imbued with an element, your regular attack isn't going to do anything particularly interesting. It'll just do basic damage. Almost done. He won't get another turn, because he's been slow like this entire time. It took me a while to balance... Ooh, there's level 7. Reveille, to wake up someone who's sleeping on your team. Jeer, to cast Rage on an enemy. Hydromancy, kind of like Umbermancy and Lumimancy. This is for a water move. And Revive. You can now revive anyone who dies, and not that we need to worry about that anytime soon, but it's good to have in your pocket. And here are some... oops, I accidentally clicked it, but there are some items. I think what we're actually going to do is I'm going to escape this battle and move forwards into the next room. So the first escape failed, but I see I've got 4 turns, so I'm guaranteed to eventually get an escape. Alright, it took only 2 tries. So here's Northern Caves level 3. We're making some progress. If you can hear the music, it speeds up a little bit. I tried my best to have the music sync up with the environment, but also as you're going deeper and deeper into a dungeon, from room to room or floor to floor, I also wanted to have the music increase in tempo, to speed up, to show that you're making progress and that you're getting closer and closer to like a boss battle of some sort. So in this region, there's 2 types of monsters. There's this Sasquatch, and there's also an Earth monster, which we'll see as well. It's just a 4-on-1. I'm going to accentuate Marrow. But they hit a little bit harder than the previous ones. They can also cast Rage, by the way, which can be a huge pain in the neck. Now with Marrow, she's got increased magic attack, and he's got decreased magic defense, so that's kind of 2 buffs, well, 1 buff and 1 debuff that stacks in our favor. And we're going to use Hydromancy, which is a water attack to use against the fire enemy. And so it should do a decent amount of damage. It's not bad. Double swing. When you see Marion go, you're going to notice that she's just automatically attacking. I have no control over Marion when it's her turn. That was just her moving on her own. You don't get to choose if you want to attack or guard or do anything else. You just have to deal with it. So Rage is one of the more dangerous status ailments. I know Silence also is generally bad because you don't get any skills at all. You lose capacity for all skills, including your special TP ability. But not having any control like Rage, like being in Rage, is particularly difficult. Alright, getting a little bit more, almost at level 8. Here's our Earth Monster, Bigneus. I like to have as many play-on words as possible. You'll notice that all the enemies and all of the attacks are generally play-on words of something. If we had an air attack, or some sort of wind or air attack, that would be great. We don't. But I'm going to slow him down. I could cast Rage on him or Silence, but I want you to see what his regular attack looks like before he gets status ailmented in that way, before he gets afflicted in that way. We're going to... We don't need to heal or anything. Let's just use Mini Thwack. Mini Thwack should be decent, because again, they do have pretty heavy physical, plus physical weapons. Let's use Jeer. So he is enraged, and so when that happens, I think he'll only get away with using one of these boulders. Now, since Marrow and Arak have their plus physical attack weapons on, as opposed to the ones like canes and staffs that are heavier on the magic attack side, they do a decent amount of physical damage. So like Mini Thwack is pretty good for Marrow. She doesn't have the MP for it, but let's guard, and we now have the MP for it. And I know we're really close to leveling up anyway. So just one boulder there. And it was guarded, because she was defending. So she took very little damage. Everything's restored. We want to get to level 10. If we can get to level 10 for both this class and the other class in the proficient tier, then we can level up to the advanced tier. Leveling up to the advanced tier makes this boss battle very, very easy. Well, yeah, very, very easy. Certainly significantly easier than if we were only proficient tier, like we currently are. I'm still following the blue torches, partially out of habit and partially because I want to show you where all the chests are. Let's see, let's go with Startle, and let's just all use a bunch of physical attacks. Let's see how much we can do with just focusing on physical attacks, like Mini Thwack, Double Swing, or Bash. Marion will learn other attacks that do damage, for what it's worth. Marrow is just stuck auto-attacking because she's been enraged. Decent damage here, and that should finish him off. Nice. Level 9. To scroll through those victory screens at the end, I'm just holding down spacebar, or you can hold down the left mouse key. Just got some revives. Revive times 2 obtained. That means I have 2 revive items, not that there's an item that revives 2 people at the same time. I like to use Trip Up a lot because it lets me go, in general, more frequently, so then I can capitalize on whatever else I need. I'll use the same strategy. Throughout this entire floor, it's really just the 2 different types of enemies. This fire monster, the Sasquatch, as well as the earth monster. So Devastation there, since he was already weak, or weaker to physical attacks, it did a little bit more damage than it otherwise would have. Before I fight the boss in in this cave area, I do want to make sure that I have all of my TP gauges maxed. Northern Cave is level 4. So now we're going to verse other enemies, stronger enemies. There's nothing wrong with going off the path to get chests, obviously. You just want to make sure you get back and line up and continue down in whatever whatever direction the maze sends you into. So these guys are pretty strong, the strongest in the area, max to Inferno. But we should still be able to kill him rather easily between using things like water spells or physical attacks. The magic attacks, like for example the Hydromancy, doesn't seem to be doing that much damage despite the fact that this is clearly a fire enemy. But that's just because of the weapon I chose. The weapon I chose didn't boost any magic at all. If you want to switch to something else that actually does more magic damage, or a higher magic attack, then your spells would be doing a lot more. Let's see. If I use something like, well, I don't even know if we'll get to go again, but if I use Jeer, then his fire attacks will probably only attack one character. He'll probably just get one hit off, as opposed to multiple hits. Almost dead. I guess if Marion had actually done damage instead of using Rage, that could have actually killed him beforehand. Level 10. Keep it out, train private. This casts guard, like an automatic guard buff, on an ally. So they'll take 50% damage while the train private icon is still activated. You'll see it's the same icon as guard, except it's gold. So that way you don't have to... Let's say we want Marrow to guard. If you don't want Marrow Toys to turn guard in, you can have Sprig cast train private on Marrow, basically getting her in a guarded position already. Inner Peace, this removes Rage. Skills Shill, we'll talk about that in a little bit. I believe that is the spell that lowers the MP costs by 50%. And Mini Heal All, which, as its name implies, will allow you to heal everyone at the expense of quite a bit of magic points. 100 gold, a Mini Tonic All, and a Love Potion. I just want to double check the Skill Shill. The MP cost for all of an ally's skills are temporarily reduced by 50%. So if you're interested in using a really, really strong spell that costs a lot of magic points, you might want to cast Skill Shill ahead of time. It lasts for a couple turns. It's not just a one-and-done thing. Besides this one big monster, besides the Maxi Twinferno, there is another battle that can be had here. You could verse 3 mini Twinfernos. I'm realizing now, I forgot... Actually, I'm going to escape this battle because I forgot to change my class. And that's actually important because if I have a maxed class, I mean, you can still get rewards from winning a battle, but you're not getting any experience. Any experience you get when your class is maxed is wasted. So I'm going to switch back to the level 7s. And I'm also going to see if there's anything else I want to equip. For example, I'm going to switch to, let's say, a Hydromancer Staff. I could do that. I don't think there's anything else I want to switch. Okay, let's keep this set up. This way I get more experience. Throughout this room, this 4th floor. Oh, I was surprised now. My party was surprised, which means he gets an attack off first. Throughout this room, the chests include things like different pieces of headgear. Now, we bought them in advance, but it doesn't hurt to have extras. Double swing. I'm going to accentuate Marrow, so she'll do especially extra damage with her magic attack. You can see that we're really getting hit pretty hard. If I can steal from him if I want to. Still 100 gold. That way I'll get 100 gold now and 100 gold after I kill him. You can see how much damage I do now. Much better. 812, and it was a critical hit. Critical hit plus super effective is usually quite good. I mean, a mini heal. Hurrah. I haven't really needed to heal much. I don't mind using a turn for that. Let's see. I could increase Marrow's luck, making it more likely for her to land another critical hit. Or I guess 3 turns. It's not guaranteed, but it does help. Hey, that one wasn't a critical hit, but that's okay. And he's almost dead. Let's just see if we can finish him off with 1 or 2 more hits. That didn't do much. That didn't do much, but this should be fine. And there's another critical hit thanks to the luck boost. It was level 8, so I didn't have to worry about the fact that my HP and MP were getting a little bit low there. I was a little bit concerned with how much HP I had. I was at like half health with most of my allies. Sorceress had obtained. Here's the other type of battle. We're just gonna do as much damage as possible, as quickly as possible. Let's use double swing. It doesn't really matter if we finish off this person right away or not. Hydromancy is usually pretty good against fire enemies. It should make sense that there's fire enemies here, given that this is a cave with Everflame. And there's torches all over the place. Level 9. We're so close. I'm going to make sure we get level 10. I'm also going to save, because I haven't saved in a while. I'm going to save the game. And we're just maybe 2 battles away from hitting level 10. You can see here I've got a pretty normal rhythm of the attacks I'm using. Almost done with this battle. Sprig's getting a little low. I might want to heal him between battles. Just like 1 mini heal should do the trick. Alright, 1 more battle and then we're good to fight the boss. I'm going to get a little bit closer to the next floor. Do some heals. Just 1 heal. I usually don't like wasting MP. So for example, Sprig is clearly close to full HP right now. Personally, I wouldn't waste a Rack's MP to finish off like the last 113 HP there. 1 more battle should be just enough. Okay, I also want to make sure that Marion has full TP. So I'm going to do Bide here. She might naturally get to 100 just from the team player TP mode. But just to be safe, I really want to make sure that I have 100 for everyone. It's not required, but it'll make my game plan for what I want to do against the boss a little bit easier to execute. I know I'm going to be gaining a level, so I can just kind of let loose with... Well, I'm not going to let loose with Devastation, but I can let loose with using up all of my MP. I've got like 99 left, but that should be fine. I can get a double swing here, and I have enough for 1 more dash if I need it. So close. Marion can finish off this one. Nice, perfect. Level 10, look at that timing. We just learned Technical Transfer. Technical Transfer, each character knows Technical Transfer now. And what Technical Transfer does is at the expense of 25 TP, you essentially give 25 TP from yourself to a different ally. So it allows you to really stack TP meters. Like if you want Marrow to always have enough to cast Alacrity, or Sprig to always have enough to cast Redemption, when it's not his turn, when it's someone else's turn, they can give their technical points to Sprig or to whoever you want to have it. Now that we're maxed on this class, we are done with the proficient tier. You'll see 4 new classes have opened: Blight Knight, Chemist Striker, Gladiator, Sensei. Again, if you're curious about what each one does, you can always go into the tutorials, Sprigs, Marians, Meros, Arax, and you can see in particular what each class teaches you in terms of skills, when you'll be learning the 4 different skills that are available for each of those 4 classes. For the purpose of this walkthrough, it doesn't really matter which one I pick. I'll be alternating between them anyway. I'm not going to do like all level 10 for the first class and then go back and then do all level 10 for the second class. I'll level them up like a couple levels each. I'll do maybe like to level 4 and then go back to 1. Level 4 and go back to 1. That way they kind of all grow together. Do you want to stay here in the cave, or would you rather head back to the cave entrance, automatically avoiding all enemy encounters? Stay here in the cave. I'm going to save again. There are no encounters in this map. I'm just going to use... It's actually easier for me to use the keyboard here, the directional pad, up, down, left, right. You can skip this entire torch path if you just want to go to the top right. The top right is where we'll eventually make our way to, but if you do follow this path, you'll be rewarded with a bunch of different chests. For example, that Umbromancer staff is particularly useful because the boss is light and fire, which means he's weak to both water and dark, or dark and water. And so as far as equipping goes, Marrow equipping the Hydromancer staff is good, and I want to equip Arak with the Umbromancer staff. You'll also find another Hydromancer staff here anyway. And you'll get a few other good items. Mini Magic ×4 obtained, just in case you don't have enough Mini Magics. And I'm moving. This will be to the left. We'll spend a little bit of time on the left side before moving back up and then to the right. Pyromancer Staff. Pyromancer Staff, while it won't do additional damage to fire enemies, because fire isn't strong against fire, water is strong against fire, the benefit of having a Pyromancer Staff, if you want to use it, is that you'll be taking less damage. Remember, the Pyromancer Staff makes your attacks fire imbued, or your physical attacks fire imbued, but also you take less fire damage. You take 50% fire damage. And so it might be useful to take less damage if you're against particularly strong fire monsters. It took me a while to set up this maze, obviously. As you proceed down the cave into deeper and deeper floors, the number of torches shrinks from like 5 in a row to 4 in a row to 3 in a row to finally 2 in a row. There's a Hydromancer staff in case you didn't have one. The first one I got was won in a battle on the one of the earlier floors. Here's another statue. Do you want to stay here in the cave, or would you rather head back to the cave entrance, automatically avoiding all enemy encounters? You can go back if you want, but we're going to stay here. And it is time to finish up this cave. Let's hope everything moves smoothly. I've got full TP. That makes me pretty confident. Everyone's got the same HP and MP for now. They'll diverge soon after. Wow, would you look at that? Nice, looks like we found some Everflame. This seems too easy. What do you mean? Wasn't walking around aimlessly through the dark difficult enough for you? Indeed, but why are there no monsters around here? Oh, that's just because of the Everflame Guardian that defends the blue fire from intruders. Even the monsters upstairs wouldn't be crazy enough to come down here and mess with him. So we're trespassing right now. And we're trying to steal And this Guardian is probably really pissed at us right now. You gotta do what you gotta do. Alright, so, different things we can do. We can start off with some Devastation. I like to start off with Devastation before I cast Alacrity. I find that sequence to be very important, because Alacrity tells me which enemies are afflicted by status ailments, and since Devastation is random, I don't want to accidentally wake up an enemy who's asleep, or who's charmed, or confused. Let's go with Accentuate Marrow. Sure. This guy up here is asleep, which is nice. Take some good damage over time. You can choose to defeat these enemies however you want. Recently I've started going for the Guardian first. I also like to steal from him. Hopefully I can pull this one off, because you get some good gold. 100 gold. When you steal, he'll always steal gold first, and then you can start stealing duplicates of whatever items that they could possibly drop. So I'm going to focus down this Guardian first. You'll notice how another Everflame Wisp just spawned. In fact, every time he loses, I think it's 25, when he drops into the 75th percentile, then 50th, then 25th in terms of HP. Every time he loses 25 HP, he will spawn another Everflame Wisp. So you've got a trade-off here. You can focus down this big guy if you want, but at what cost? The cost being you're going to get hit a few more times. Hydromancy. I know I haven't been using Arak's Citadel much. It's because most battles really only deal like one status ailment at a time. But notice here I'm starting to accrue a lot of different things. I'm getting a lot of debuffs. I know the Everflame Wisps can also cast Rage, I think? If not a different status ailment. So I'm going to keep the Citadel in my back pocket. I'm keeping it not because I never use it, but because I want to save it for if something goes particularly sideways in this battle. Alright, he's out. Critical hit and super effective. Now I've just got to deal with these 5. It'll take a little bit of time. One thing I can do, actually, so first of all, there's 5 enemies here, and so it would be really nice if I could do something to hit all 5 of them. I think what I'm going to do is, well, given how much HP they have, I think I'm going to use Mini Heal All. I was going to use Technical Transfer to transfer some TP from Arak to Marrow, because Arak isn't gaining any more technical points, and if I speed up how quickly Marrow gains TP, then she could use Alacrity again. Let's just use Double Swing. I think... yeah, doesn't really matter here. Let's start focusing down one wisp at a time. Hydromancy. I could use Bide if I wanted to increase her TP faster. But notice how they're slowing down the speeds too, which is pretty annoying. Alright, he was confused and attacked the other Wisp. Alright, so now that Marion's raged, I'm definitely going to use Citadel. Just so I'll actually have control over Marion. Unfortunately, when it's the person's next turn that you're healing, they actually still lose their turn, but they'll be ready to go next time. So, like, I didn't get control of Marion, her turn got skipped, but from now on, she's no longer raged. Can we finish off this Everflame Wisp? Nice. Alright, 4 more. And they've all been taking a little bit of damage. With Sprig, I can get off a stronger attack. Let's go with Redemption. What else can I do? Do I need to heal? I don't know if I need to heal. But I'm actually going to choose to heal, because I'm okay with using 100 out of my 120 MP. If I used a different spell, then I wouldn't have enough MP for another heal later on without using a mini magic item. Which, there's nothing wrong with using items. I'm probably still maxed at 10 of each by now. this battle would be significantly harder if I was only proficient tier class. If I was still one of the previous two classes without being leveled up. I have more HP now, I have more MP now, and I have significantly higher stats. Let's go with Min Magic on Iraq. You can sometimes see when they when someone's agility gets lowered, it instantly affects them. So Sprig got knocked back a few spots. Iraq is enraged, which is a little annoying. Let's use Devastation, that'll help. Okay, that makes me want to finish off this Everflame Wisp up here. Nice. Two left, and then we're finished. If I did use Jeer or go for the Jugular, they wouldn't be able to enrage my characters anymore, which is certainly a plus. Notice here the general physical attack is super effective because he has either an Umbromancy or Hydromancy staff. Double swing. Sprig's out of MP, which can be a little annoying. I'm going to give Marrow some more MP. I could use Alacrity, although the battle's almost over. You can see right here is a little annoying. Okay, they were both enraged at the same time for a moment. Marrow's getting low in HP. Her HP is dropped down into the yellow. I don't think that really matters. Let's just Mini Thwack. A strong physical attack, which is already imbued with either water or dark, so it's going to do it extra. Let's see, Marrow's almost dead. Doesn't really matter if she dies. But I think what I'm going to do is... I'll use a Mini Tonic just for the heck of it. I have 10 of them. And Marrow certainly has enough MP to be useful moving forwards. So I think we can just finish off with some basic attacks here. Or Mini Thwack, so stronger versions of basic attacks. And there we go, we've won. It's a long battle, but it is a boss battle. Level 2. We will start to gain levels faster as we verse stronger enemies. I try to increase the difficulty level at a strong pace so that it doesn't really make too much sense to go back and grind forever. You typically want to grind at the highest or most advanced place that you can. Got a couple more skills. We got Mini Magic, Meta Magic, which allows us to recover even more magic points at once. Eventually we'll get Meta Tonics, Mini Magic Alls, and another Revive. Bottle of Everflame obtained. Now we go back to the cutscene, and it's a little bit longer this time. You need to go again already? But you just got home from your last trip. Do you really have to leave so soon? Yes, I do. But Mom... Marion, that's enough. How many times do I need to hammer it into you? I'm sorry, I just miss you, that's all. I understand, but sometimes you need to just bottle up your emotions and put on a brave face. A bottle, as in the reference to the bottle of Everflame that we just have. Again, there'll always be references to whatever the new key item is that you've just won, whether it's a hammer or a bottle of Everflame. Don't let your feelings flare up and control you. Hi, Iraq, how is your... You got me flowers, roses, lilies, and hammer orchids, my favorites. Iraq, your kindness and thoughtfulness always shine so brightly. You really know how to lift someone up when they're feeling blue. We've got Shine, Shining Flames, we've got Blue, Blue Everflame. We should talk about our plans for tomorrow. I'm going to hold down spacebar so that Marrow walks a little bit faster. We've got 3 monsters invading Old Providence Town. And of course, we've got some fire here. Marrow's rescuing the town. Good afternoon, Sprig. Good afternoon, Your Majesty. What brings you into the armory? It is time for Edel to pass the torch to you. Come. Wait, sir. What is it, Sprig? Remember, Edel was the guard that we took turns speaking to. when we were singularly Marion or Arak or Merom and trying to get to the castle. And now we're back here. And now you can see, now that I've got Everflame, I can light up some areas. I did not hide any other items around here, so you don't have to worry about that. All the items are found on the maze path when you follow the torches around. Get me out of here. Are you sure I want to leave the cave? Yes, please, let me leave. Let's see. What I want to do next is save the game. And this is a good place to stop. I'm going to save one more time. This is the end of episode 3. I'm definitely one of those people who just saves the second or third or fourth time just to double, triple, quadruple check. But that is the end of episode 3. And next time, when we come back in, we will head east here. We'll be able to walk through the darkness. It'll no longer be dark. We'll do a couple little side quests, and then we'll head north because we'll be able to melt the avalanche and head to the northwest to Snowburbia. But that's it for today, and I will see you next time. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to see more clips about Mango Mischief, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. The Steam link for my game, as well as all Mango Mischief social media links, are posted in this video's description. I think you'll enjoy my satirical, retro-style, turn-based JRPG, and if you have any questions, feel free to post them in the comments section below. Thanks!